What is up, my aesthetic boys? It's Fresh, back with another storytime episode of r/MaliciousCompliance. If you're a fan of the asshole tax, big knobs, and that anchovy episode from SpongeBob, well, step right up. An unfortunate screensaver. About 15 years or so ago, yours truly was working as a theater technician, that's stage, not operating, at an arts center which hired out upon occasion for corporate affairs of various sorts. The event was an insurance company holding a risk management conference, basically to shout at their sales slime about not mis-selling financial products, or at least how not to get caught. Your standard corporate doze fest, I think, but I had exams and figured taking the gig would be a chance to revise. All was going pretty much to plan. Madolu the usual idiots who don't actually speak into the mic and the mumblers, but that's fairly normal for these things. Then, Mr. Big Knob arrives. He thinks himself very senior, second under assistant to one of the assistants to the undersecretary for paperclip distribution or something along those lines. Very full of himself and very, very alpha. This is the conversation, an earshot of my boss and grand boss. Big Knob. Son, I want you to put my laptop up on the big screen and then don't touch it. I don't want you messing with the pictures while I'm talking because I know you people like to mess around with senior people's presentations. I'm thinking, what the hell, but I'll try to be professional. Fair enough. Picture, sound, and light, then leave it alone until you finish. Doesn't bother me. That's right. I don't want you touching anything. Okay, fine. Thinking you utter prat, but easiest projection shift ever, I guess. Well, at the due time, Mr. Big Knob makes his way up onto stage and I do my thing. House lights go down, lectern lights in the mic come up, tab out, and laptop to projector. We're off to a very tedious couple of hours of death by PowerPoint, thinks I. Turns out the guy is using Word, not PowerPoint, and this matters, because this guy puts up a page of basically unreadable text. Slides should not have more than about 5 lines, and proceeds to harangue the audience while walking up and down the front of the stage ignoring the laptop, mostly inaudibly because he had not let me fit him with a lav, and in the dark because he had told us he was going to use the podium and I was not to touch the controls. Well, after 15 minutes or so, the laptop does what they do when left alone and the screensaver kicks in. Gay BDSM porn, some of it featuring Big Knob at the bottom, 30 feet wide and 15 feet high, appears behind him on the screen, and he had plenty of slides. I'm watching from the control room, maliciously sitting on my hands. I got no comeback at all from my management, but the look of horror on his face when he turned around was priceless, and I suspect the risk management lesson that was imparted was not quite the one he expected. The look on the CEO's face was interesting, shall we say, as well. The CEO actually came up afterwards and said, "He told you not to touch anything, didn't he?" I said, "Yep." CEO muttered, "Figures." Middle management tells technician not to interfere with his presentation, and he gets exactly what he asked for. Now that I understand the twist of the story, I guess I'm moderately concerned for the reason that our victim of OP's malicious compliance came to be known as Big Knob. For someone who was unable to make a PowerPoint, keep his laptop, or trust an IT guy, it wouldn't surprise me if he hadn't even meant to put such smut as his screensaver. He was just trying to get it onto his computer and then was too ashamed to ask anyone for help. That's not exactly the kind of thing you'd want to take into a Genius bar. Or, maybe that's what he's into. That would be the biggest plot twist. He meant for his screensaver to show up, hence earning him the moniker OP has since bestowed. Got used for free photography, made sure a special friend was included. Now, I'm not a professional photographer, but I do have decent equipment and portfolio, so a lot of friends will hit me up for discounted photo shoots. Most of them pay, or at least buy me dinner, but others expect me to do it for free. I'm close with my ex-boyfriend's family, so I was thrilled when his younger sister asked me to come to her prom pictures earlier this month, until she told me to bring the camera. I did mention to her that I'm doing online school and I have an exam due that week, so the pictures might not be ready for another week, and she was fine with that. Within 2 hours of taking pictures of half a dozen high school students, I ended up with 300 plus shots because everyone wanted the perfect Instagram shot. Whatever, I can go home, study, and slowly work on sorting through the pictures later. They're not paying me, so I wasn't exactly motivated. I get a text from her and her mom that night at around 11 p.m. They want the pictures edited and uploaded by the next morning so they could be shown off on social media. I tried to explain that I'm studying, but they weren't having it. They said, "We don't care how you edit it, just make it look nice." Fine. I spent the next 3+ hours working on the pictures and editing them really nicely that even I was proud of. Then I hit Shrek into the background of every single picture. Shrek with his head poking out between the kids, Shrek posing happily. Shrek had a very nice time at prom, evidently. I uploaded the pics and sent them off. No one noticed the extra guest for weeks, and I got my ear chewed out by my ex's sister, who apparently didn't appreciate her 900 followers on Instagram seeing Shrek grinning between her and her boyfriend. They asked me to edit however I wanted, so I delivered. Shrek was one of the best clients I've ever had. Look, just because you know someone, that does not mean you should be asking for free services. If anything, you should pay them more, honestly. I mean, think about it this way. If you're an American going out to eat and a friend of yours is your waiter, are you really gonna stiff them because you're friendly with them outside of work? I don't know about you, but I'd make sure to tip well. And if you're from, literally any other country where tipping isn't customary, well, go back to your laws and cultural norms that actually make sense. Also, if you take a look back at the past story, I strategically hid multiple multicolored Shrek heads around the screen just for fun. You don't own me. Dock my pay for being late by 2 minutes? Enjoy paying massive overtime. I worked in an electricity retail call center. It was highly unionized, but the management tracked login times to the minute. One incredibly ridiculous thing they did was if you were a minute or two late, they would literally dock your pay by that many minutes. It wasn't really enough for us to notice, and I'm sure they didn't actually save any money. I mean, if you were 15 minutes late, I can understand, but not paying 3 minutes? Well, eventually the union discovered what they were doing, and were completely pissed that they hadn't been consulted about this dick move. This is where their malicious compliance comes in. The union demanded log on and log off times for everyone in the call center. What management hadn't counted on was that all of us would often need to wrap up calls and clear the call queue before the call center could officially close. This often meant that operators would leave several minutes after their shift. On bad occasions, it could be 15 to 20 minutes delay before they could clock off, but mostly it was only a few minutes. The union made management recalculate everyone's pay for the year based on clock on and clock off time. They also pointed out that staying past end of shift triggered penalty rates. It turns out everyone, and I mean everyone, had spent more time wrapping up calls at the end of the day than they were ever late clocking in. Each of us got paid for lost wages at overtime rates. It cost them a fortune, and they never docked the pay of anyone who was late ever again. There's a theory of behavioral economics that states that people are more likely to work harder if they're given more upfront than they would if told that they'll get more if they work harder. I'm not sure if there's an evolutionary, deep-seated psychological reason for this, or if it just comes from a fundamental distrust of middle management, but a little leeway goes a long way with most employees. If you're a hard ass about clocking in, but then want them to stay after their allotted shift, good luck with the unions next time around, bud. Companies are built on the backs of their employees, and that can be either your greatest strength, or in this case, a serious hit on your bottom line. If you don't turn your radio off, I'm gonna charge you for the electricity. My family moved ahead of my senior year in high school. The new house ended up with my bed and my parents' bed against the same wall. I had a small clock radio that I kept on the headboard, and apparently it was annoying my mother. She starts to get on to me about leaving the radio on and threatens to charge me for the electricity if I don't. Well, I had taken physics the year prior and had learned all about how to calculate the usage. Dug out the power bill and figured it would cost $3.97 to run my radio nonstop for 1 year. I handed my mother $4 and told her to keep the change. LEDs genuinely are substantially more efficient than incandescent bulbs. They don't have finicky filament that can be hurt by frequently turning lights on and off, and seriously, it could cost like $5 a year to keep one on nonstop. Also, I've never heard of RGB incandescent bulbs, so that alone should convince you to trick out your room like the 16-year-old gamer you always wanted to be. If your desk, fridge, cabinets, headboard, trim, and sink don't have separate, cheap Chinese 16-button remotes, is your house really a home? Oh, this damage was absolutely related. Working in auto damage, I have a lot of customers try to claim unrelated damage and get free repairs out of the deal. My job is to assess related damages. Most customers back off when they're caught, but not this lady. She doubled down. I was having a review from a supervisor, so he rode around with me while I did estimates. A certain customer driving a 16 Jetta had a pretty bad hit. New quarter panel, floor, and body panel. I denied her damage on the right side doors due to different markings and paint color transfer. She yelled at my supervisor that it was absolutely related, and he ended up folding, despite both of us knowing it wasn't related to the accident. Because of the extra damage she insisted on, the vehicle was marked as a total loss. She backpedaled so hard it was beautiful, asking if we could take the damage off the estimate. My only reply was, now that it's been deemed related to the claim, not putting it on my estimate would be considered negligent and insurance fraud. Turned out she was upside down for over $3,000. Ah, yes. Wouldn't want to be committing insurance fraud now, would we? This story could also fall under r/asshole tax just as much as malicious compliance because it represents the effect of the compliance, if you will, like the other side of the story. She was a belligerent customer and it ended up costing her a few $1,000s for, at most, what seems like a few hundred in paint damage. This is either a sudden affirmation of one of the 7 deadly sins and proof that Christ is the one and only Savior, or it's just some woman being an asshole. You pick. Want to have a hotel room with 2 double-sized beds? Of course, sir. Your wish is my command, sir. I was just a customer, but hot damn! I had a hotel room booked for 2 nights from a 5-star well-known hotel chain that rhymes with Balade Thin. Room was the smallest and cheapest with 2 double beds, probably even located below the parking garage. That was just about the only room available, so it'd have to do. About a month later, I arrive with my buddy to basically drop our stuff in the room so we can take off right away while the sun is still up. In the lobby, there's about a 200-person group shouting all at once to the 2 ladies manning the desk. After making plans for a few minutes to store our stuff elsewhere, the desk attendant notices us, as we clearly were not part of the huge group. So she waves us over past the large group and starts to handle our check-in. She politely asks us to fill the traveler forms while she's looking up my reservation. I thank her and try to make pleasant conversation about this and that, complimenting their uniforms in the hotel, trying to improve the sour atmosphere the angry mob has been generating all around. While we're all filling the forms, an angry man next to us, who is apparently the leader of the lobby mob, keeps shouting loud, "I demand that you arrange us extra rooms with 2 double-sized beds. We had late additions to our travel and they need a room with 2 double-sized beds. Right effing now." Apparently, the arguing has been taking place for quite a while already. She tries to get a word in but gets interrupted. "I don't care if your stupid hotel is full, it's your job to give us a place to sleep. Stupid woman. Get us another room. And double-sized beds. Don't try anything else. I'm not interested in anything else. You idiot. I wonder how you can keep your job if you can't even arrange a room for us." Every time the main desk attendant tries to talk to the angry man, he rudely interrupts her with more and more shouting. Only thing I can do is to keep smiling at the ladies sympathetically. She said, "I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have double-sized beds available. We do, however, have—" I don't want to hear. You just do your job and press the buttons to make it happen. You must be mentally slow. Don't you? 2 double beds, or is that too difficult for you? The clerks share a tired look with each other, but suddenly, both have this lamp lighting above their head. They converse for a moment, using their native language, while pointing at their screens and then proceed to tell me, "Our apologies, sir, but unfortunately, we don't have your room with 2 double beds available for you, which you had booked for. As you see, we're a bit full today," while she's gesturing to the mob in the lobby. My heart sinks a bit until she continues, "So, because we're fully booked, the only room we can offer to you is the executive suite at the 24th floor, obviously, for no extra cost. Unfortunately, it doesn't have 2 double-sized beds." She makes eye contact with the angry man and continues, "But it does have 4 king-size beds, each with their own ensuite." Angry man drops dead silent and is just staring at us. His mouth just moves like the mouth of a fish who is stranded on a dry land. While looking at me again, she continues, I hope you accept the free room upgrade with our most sincere apologies on behalf of the hotel management. And of course, all of the room service is free, including the refreshments available in the suite kitchen and suite bar areas, and all hotel VIP facilities are at your disposal 24/7. Please do enjoy your stay and let us know if there's anything we can do to make your stay more comfortable. She dings a small bell, and a bellboy takes our bags while gesturing towards the fancy, separate elevator at the side. I'm so shocked that I can only mutter a little bit of thanks and follow the bellboy. While we're making our way towards the elevator, the main desk is explaining to the angry man, "Sir, I'm happy to inform you that we were able to make arrangements to have your single room with 2 double-sized beds available to accommodate the extra guests. That will be 199 euros added to your bill." The man snaps out of his trance-like state and shouting resumes. "What the hell? I don't want some single room with double-sized beds. I want the free executive suite too. Why the hell did those guys get the executive suite and I get some terrible single room? This is unacceptable. Why did you give my better room for those 2 assholes instead of to me?" She now has much more commanding tone and responds, "Unfortunately, sir, our free executive suite is not available. It's booked. I tried to offer you king size, but you are having none of it. So, you'll take the single room, or will you not?" I can't tell accurately what was said next, but I'm quite sure it was a lot of cursing and throwing more insults from the man using the man's native language. All I have is this horrible grin while the bellhop closes the elevator doors, taking us up. Maybe half an hour later, when we head to check the city, the lobby has been cleared. We go to the desk to thank the 2 attendants and give them both good tips that we easily save with the free room service over the expensive hotel restaurant. Unfortunately, our schedule doesn't allow us to enjoy the free hotel VIP services much, but the ladies definitely earn a little bit of extra. It was a great experience for us, and I still remember this clearly after a long time. That front desk girl, she was truly maliciously compliant with the angry man. Let's go with a comparison that I'm rather fond of. If I had $1 for every time there was a malicious compliance, or again in this case, r/asshole tax story in which things just didn't turn out for a particularly unruly customer, I'd have at least $20 or $30. That might not be a lot of dollars, but it's a lot of popular stories. The best part of this situation was that the staffer was literally in the process of offering that suite to the man who was already berating her with insults. He was like half a sentence away from free room service. But no, he preferred his 2 double-sized beds. I mean, who wouldn't? For some reason, when OP was describing the mass of 200 people, this angry mob in the hotel lobby, all I could think of is that episode from SpongeBob where the busloads of anchovies overrun the Krusty Krab. And because I thought of that, I'm sure as hell gonna use that as the thumbnail. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Be sure to subscribe for more daily Reddit content. Drop a like if you liked the video, and I will see you all tomorrow. Fresh.